Hello, BookTube. I'm continuing on with my shelves tours. Well, we haven't really hit any shelves because today we're going to be doing I call it the contemporary fiction table right here. It's an old 70s lino wood table, and pretty much it's stacked towards the wall, but then across, but then as you go up, there's some books are there too. So, anyway, so you may see here, this is the romance um, TV stand, shelf thing, whatever. But we'll do that in another video because that's going to take a long time to do that. So yeah, this is the contemporary fiction table, and let's have a look. So the first thing we have here is Wonder by Joe Policio. I read this as a tween and really loved it, but I found this copy secondhand, and one day I'll get back to it because I want to see if it holds up pretty much. But this really hit home to me, and I don't think it's a bit emotional, but we'll see what we think of it when we read it later. And then here we have my Roald Dahl. These are all ones I found secondhand because I refused to buy them new because you can find them in op shops anywhere. But we have the Twits. Of course, we love the Twits. The Witches here. We have the BFG here. We have Charlie and the Glass Elevator. We have Matilda, not my favourite. I know it's a bit controversial. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, of course, we love that one. Danny, Champion of the World, we love. Eso Trot, one of these, more of these not poems, but I don't know, rhymes. I don't know. Pelly the Pelican, of course, we love that one. We got the Magic Finger. We got George's Marvelous Medicine. We love that one. And Going Solo. So there's a couple I'm missing, but again, I look out for them when I see them secondhand. So now we got those out the way. Then we have some really beat up copies of P.D. James. I've never read P.D. James, but I have them on my shelf here just to, make myself read them. We have Cover Her Face here. Death of an Expert Witness. Yeah. And then we have A Mind to Murder. So we have those. These over here. Then we have one of the big things I haven't read yet. And that's Patrick O'Brien's Master and Commander series. This isn't even all of them, but I have a good chunk of them here. I'll zoom up so you can see them right here. I haven't read any of them. I found them literally like 50 cents each. So I took them all up because I know people love Patrick O'Brien. And I thought maybe I'd like him too. But anyway, and now we got the last bit of row here. Let's see what we have here. We have Two Boys, At Swim Two Boys by Jamie O'Neill. Love this book. I read this in like a day. It was very long, but very lovely if you want like a sad gay book. Speaking of gay, we have Douglas Stewart here. We have his debut, Shuggie Bain, of course, and Young Mungo here too. So we have those. Then we have one of my favourite books ever. This probably is my favourite like contemporary book, and that's Duck's Newbury Report. I love this book with all my heart. I'm so due for a reread. I read it when it came out. Oh my god, 2019. That's so long ago. And I immediately loved it. I haven't read anything else by Lucy Ellman, so in the comments let me know what should I read from her next, because I don't know if the rest of her books are like Ducks, but I want to see what else she's written. Then, of course, we have White Teeth by Zadie Smith, of course. We love White Teeth over here. And we have Adultery by Paulo Coelho. He wrote, oh my god, I can't remember what his main book is called. Is it here? I don't think it is. Oh, The Alchemist. I've been trying to remember what his major book was, and I've never read The Alchemist. I literally have no clue what it's about, but this is the only one I've read from him. So yeah. Then we have another favourite, and that's Anno Dracula, of course. We love Anno Dracula here. I again read this as a teen. I loved it so much. Very weird. Um, and yeah, Anno Dracula is amazing. I haven't read any of the sequels, and I feel like once I give this a reread, I'll give the sequels a try pretty much. But yeah, we've got Anno Dracula. Then we have Hamnet, of course. Everyone loves Hamnet. I love Hamnet. If you haven't read Hamnet, please do because it's very lovely. Then we have two Peter Hart novels. We have Islewhackers, classic of course. Then probably my favourite book he has, Oscar and Lucinda, classic, Australian classic. We love this book over here. If you haven't read Oscar and Lucinda, please do. It's very great. Then we have probably three of my favourite books ever, probably my favourite series ever, and that is the Hannibal books. Yeah, we have three. All three of the Hannibal books. We won't talk about the other one that shall not be named because it's trash. But yeah, we have Red Dragon, one of the great thriller novels I think I've ever read. Then we have Silence, probably my least favourite of the three, but it's still really great. Then we have my favourite out of all of them. I know this is so controversial, but I love Hannibal so much. I even love the ending of Hannibal. I know that's probably one of my biggest hot takes, but I don't care. I genuinely love the ending of Hannibal. It comes out of nowhere, and for me it works, if I'm being a bit honest. But we'll move on from that very controversial opinion here. I'll just chuck those out. Then we have a recent book I've held, and that is Less. This was by Andrew Sean Greer. This won the Pulitzer Prize a couple years ago. I remember when it came out, and I read it when it came out because I can't remember how old I would have been, but I don't know. And I found a copy a couple of weeks ago, and I'm due for a reread of it. And I know there's a sequel too, but I haven't seen it anywhere. But if I do, I'm definitely picking it up. We have that. Then we have a Monster Coals with this tie-in cover right here. Again, read this as a teen. This is taught in schools. This is a book. I never got taught this in school, but I've seen it on a lot of school lists and all that too. And it's very lovely. It's a bit sad, but I think it's a very good novel. Then we have more of my favourite books ever. And I've put these here because I'll pull them out first. Because as we all know from my other bookshelf tours, we have Jaws, which came out in the Middle Ages, of course. Then we have Jaws 2, which came out in the 1800s. And then I don't even know where my copy of Jaws 4 is. It's in my videos. You see it in the background, but I can't pull that out because I literally have lost it. It's literally gone. And I love that novel. It's so bad. But I love the Jaws book so much. And I even have another edition of Jaws because this old mass market here is starting to get a bit worn. And there's some pages where literally the ink has completely faded off. And I feel like I need a backup. But even then, Jaws 2, my edition of Jaws 2 is starting to get nice and dusty and old. And I manifest one day they'll put these books back out in reprint because they're so fun. Maybe not Jaws 4, but so imagine I just pulled out Jaws 4 here because everyone loves Jaws the Revenge. But anyway, we have another diva, Meg, of course, by Steve Elton. We love Meg. I've never read the sequels, but this is one of the greatest things I've ever read. And I put up with Augustine and Kemp, of course. Then the last book we have for today is another Peter Benchley novel, and that is The Beast. Yeah. Look at the back of him right there. I love The Beast. It's very effective for what it is. The action scenes are great with the squid and all that. Besides that, it's a bit boring if I'm being a bit honest. But anyway, Peter Benchley. I have read, obviously Jaws. I read this, and I've read, was it The Island? His follow-up novel to Jaws. But I wouldn't mind reading all of his novel, like his fiction at least, because I've heard he does non-fiction too, and I'd love to see how he does that. But yeah, that's our last book, Peter Benchley. And yeah, that's the contemporary fiction table, as you can see here. It's not as many as I thought it would be, but as I save, as I look over to the monstrously huge romance TV stand shelf mutant thing, there'll be a lovely video to make of, because it's going to be a long one. But yeah, so that's the contemporary fiction table. Let me know what you think about these books in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching BookTube, and I'll see you next time.